I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Don't label us left or right. Our American. Not looking for a wall, but we came to fight. Our American. Somebody's gotta stand up. Somebody's gotta do what's right. We're rising 'cause we're fed up. Got our house in order and got yours inside. American, that's what I am, that's what I think, and what I do. I am American, that's what I am, and I bleed red, white, and blue.
Alrighty, everyone. Welcome back to the Super Dave Show. It's kind of funny. I almost forgot to take the covers off my cameras. So I'm looking. I was like, why can't I see that? But now I know why. So, all right. Welcome back to Super Dave Show. It is the beginning of March. Looks like we're marching towards spring. I can't wait. It's gonna be nice because I'm tired of cold weather. I think a couple weeks ago we had some of the coldest weather. Well, we had the coldest weather we had all year. So anyway, few things I want to bring up. If you're really interested, you like the way I say that. If you're really interested, I'm looking in here. What's going on? What's going on there? Okay, all right. I hope everybody's getting it because we're trying to do a little bit here. Wendy said I could go ahead and go through her Facebook page to do this. Hope that's all right. Now, I do want to say one thing here. First off, and I want everybody to understand this. As all you know, if you don't, then you're not paying attention. We have a group called Real Republicans and the Republicans, both ways. But we have both groups, and it's the same thing. And as many of you know, the reason why we have the second one is because we weren't really watching the posts that were getting put out, and some of the people didn't care if they were putting anything out, and I think they may have done it on purpose. I don't know. It didn't matter, but we could not do what we want to do there. So let me see. Make sure this is all working like it should. There you go. You never know. You really never know. Let me make sure everything's... looks like everything's streaming like it should. Let me see. YouTube and maybe not. Facebook may be messing with us a little bit here. Let's see. Let's just see what it does here. Give me 1 second here. I'm just going to see. Yeah, it looks like it's working, so I'll just go ahead and hopefully it'll work. Who knows? Because it says it's not streaming, but it looks like it is. We'll see. Maybe not. All right. Okay, we'll get rid of that and we'll see how it goes. Excuse me. And they may knock us off, but at least we're on D Live here, and a lot of our friends are on D Live going through MeWe, Gab, and Parler, and that's the problem with this. You go through so many. All right. Anyway, I'm going to get back to the weekend, and I'll get to the Trump thing in a minute. We've got some people in Real Republicans that are running for school board. And right now we got 4 of them. And we have to start with the schools. I think everybody agrees with it. Finally agrees with that. But we have to get through the schools. That's all there is to it. And the problem is that we're not. Now, why is it not working? Oh, got to get the right one there. There it is. But anyway, we have to do everything we can to retake our schools. And it's really interesting because if you noticed, the politicians are starting to agree with us. They're starting to agree with us here. And I think it's so important. I really do. Well, good. Well, I think the picture's only frozen on your side. How's that? I don't know. You'll have to ask other people. You know what we need to do is when you go in the chat room is to say, my picture is frozen. Is anybody else's? Because then what happens on my end is I go, is it something here? But I don't think so. Everything looks like it's working as it should. So, yeah, CPU's down, all that good stuff. So I think it's you, Carl. Excuse me. Anyway, we got these people run for school board, and we got all these people, and for you people that are paying attention there, we have all these people who are running for school board. But honest to God, very few people that are not enough. Let's put it this way: it's getting to be more and more, but people are just dragging. They're like, well, I'll just wait until next year. You won't be in the group by next year because I'm serious. I get really irritated when these people that should be involved in this and say, yeah, we need to retake our schools. And I'm going to be part of it. And actually, it's interesting because Wendy's actually heard some people that aren't even in the. This is what bothers me. You get people that are not in the district, and they are the ones saying yes. What is it about we don't take care of our own? So we're in Jefferson County here. We got Fox and a few of the other ones in Jefferson County, and I think probably 95% of the people that watch this show would agree. If that's the case, then those 95% should be going to RealRepublicans.net and being a part of this and say, yeah, I want to help support, get signs and literature for the people so we can get them elected. That's what we need to do. And to do anything less is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. So, there's Wendy, there's Rick, there's Jacob and Charles Huey, and my good friend out in Perry County is running for school board. I mean, not school board, but health board. And as you can tell, that's a big deal now, too. So, all right. Now, I know everybody's wanting to talk about Trump. And of course I watched it yesterday. It's really interesting because he doesn't, he does what I like to do. And that is, if you think he's done, you're not paying attention. You really aren't paying attention. And that's one of the problems we have. People think he's done. He's not done. He's not even close to done. But for some reason, people want to think he is. So he's not done. Just face it. He's not done. And let's, instead of waiting for him to get everything and do it all, and that's one of the problems I've had with conservatives. Good morning, Mr. Means. And Mr. Means, we got 4 people running for school board so far. And you know as well as I do, it's hard to get people to run for office. Isn't it funny, Jim? Jim is my good friend. State rep for 8 years. Ran for governor. And it's really interesting. And this is one of the problems we've always had. Is that it's really interesting on this side of the aisle. Everybody says, go do something. Everybody says, go do something. You need to go do this. I love this because somebody says, we need to take that over. We need to take over our school boards. And I look at these other people, and most of them that say that, they're not talking about themselves. The we is mean, I'll be there in spirit, but somebody else needs to do this because, whatever. And what I keep trying to explain to people is that, now just so you know, there are other people watching on other platforms, so just so you know. It's not just, we try to do the Facebook, and anyway, that's where we are with that, so if you see it. Oh, that's Jim Means, I'm sorry. Jim Means, how are you? And I hope your lovely wife is getting better. I was thinking there was Neil. I can't read. It's Monday. But anyway, back to what I was saying. We have people that are running for school board, and we need to take care of them. That's it. Every damn person in that group should be saying, hey, here's 10, 20 bucks, whatever. They should be doing it and saying, let's get these people elected. Let's get them elected. Let's take our schools over. And it's really interesting because I've been giving that message for quite a while. And I'm pleased to say that I'm really starting to hear that from so many others. I kind of joke around about some of that stuff, but I really am glad. Now, yesterday, I listened to CPAC's speech by President Trump, And right before him, by the way, was a superstar, Jim Jordan. And that's just it. The first thing that President Trump came out with is just, and we are not starting a new party. Everybody get through their head. He's not starting a new one. He's staying here because he knows he's got 75 million people who are in on it, who are saying, yes, we can do this. We can do this. And that's just one of the things that we have to make sure we do. By the way, the phones are working. Jim's lovely wife is having issues. She's in intensive. Well, she's in a hospital. Let's put it that way, and she's had some problems the last few years. That's got to drive you crazy, Jim. When you've been with her for a long time, I know, and it's got to drive you crazy. Just it's like God. And then you get some of these losers out there that you're sitting there going, why don't they? I hate to say it. Why don't they get sick? Linda says, I knew he wasn't gone. I knew it too. But I got to tell you, I got to find this. It's really interesting what wait, let me see, wrong platform there. Let me find it real quick. I found it really interesting. First of all, I love the fact they went after Jim Acosta. I love it. They went after Jim Acosta. Yeah, and see, the media doesn't like when you ask them questions, and he's like a superstar out there for some people. For the liberals, he's a superstar. He really is. So let me get this up there. This is very short, but it's to the point. And this is Mike Lindell. And this is in regards, we had the speech yesterday, and somebody went up to Mike Lindell, and this is what they said.
The next miracle is nobody did anything about the dead people, the non-residents, all that. But if that would have happened, Donald Trump would have, of course, been put back in if people did their job, the Republican, the legislators. But that would have been a disaster. You know why? Because we wouldn't have found out about the machines. I have all the evidence of the machines. LindellTV.com. Look at it. We're getting more every day. It's going to go to the Supreme Court. And Donald Trump will be your president long before 2024.
Well, you have to admit, that's if you're a Trumpster like we are, that's good news to hear. Very good news to hear. I think we'd all like to make sure Donald Trump is the president sooner than 2024. And honestly, he should be because he was elected. It really is frustrating.
And what am I doing?
Hold on a second here. It really is frustrating though when you've got people. Make sure that's right. Okay, you got people who are out there, and we all know that he won. We all know it. It's really sad. But we all know he won, and he but like he said, look, I believe in karma. Everything happens for a reason, and sometimes one thing about conservatives, and this is why I'm so hard on conservatives. It's like, instead of just looking for a superstar to do it for you, I mean, we all want Trump to succeed and all that stuff. He's the leader. But the leader can't lead unless he's got a lot of people helping him. And just by voting and that's it, or being pissed off, isn't enough. You've got to get in there because, as you can see, if we would have had a lot more people in the legislatures and the courts, make sure the courts are right. I think that's one thing people don't understand. The courts in so many states are pathetic, in our own state. In fact, yesterday Trump brought up about social media. In Florida, Governor DeSantis is doing his job. He's going after social media. That should happen in every state. So I'm asking, I know some of the legislators do watch this, I'm asking you, you know what, if you really want to get something, if you want to make headway for next year's election, this is the whole purpose of what you do. We don't need to be naming highways after President Trump. That is not going to solve anything. How about spending your time? helping So we don't have this problem ever again. We need state legislatures in every state. Now, we're not going to get a few, but don't be surprised. Just because it's really interesting because some of the states have a Democrat governor, but they have a Republican legislature. Well, you might be right. But they will accept the Electoral College results as final no matter what happens. Well, and I get that, Jim. I get that, but here's the problem with it. That we know that in these particular states, see, here's where I have a real problem with it. Okay, I'm governor, and I see that we're going to lose this. So between myself and a couple election officials, liberal or phony Republican election officials, I work it out with them to make sure I can go ahead and change the law without going through the legislature, because the legislature is what it takes to get a law passed. I mean, if you've ever studied civics, which most people don't know, they just think, oh, everything's okay. By the way, and if we don't do it, I hope you guys are ready to pay $5 a gallon for gas. I wonder what's going to happen to liberals. I have actually seen on some of the sites, because they'd be talking about the price of gas. And I've seen liberals say, well, that was because Trump didn't do his job. I mean, it's always he didn't do his job. What planet were these people on when the price of insulin and all these other things went up? What happened? I'm dead serious. What happened? So, they aren't paying attention, obviously. So anyway, back to what I was saying. Every state, including this state of Missouri that we're in, needs to have strong leadership, which we don't have. Oh, but he's a Republican. Okay, whatever. We need strong leadership to say, we are not going to let big tech, because that's what they're doing, stop what we are doing. We can't even have free speech. They want all the tax loopholes, but they don't want to. If they don't want to do what they're supposed to be doing. And you're right. We need to find a way to cleanse the voter registration books. But see, this is where it comes in for all conservatives. All conservatives need to be saying that that's we, not you, not them, we. What can I do to make sure this doesn't happen? Now, that may mean that you may need to run for office. That may mean that you need to help. How about, this is the one thing that I think, I think it should be out there every single day with Republicans. And that is, they need to look at the schools. Stop making excuses and do everything they can to retake our schools. Jim, you've been around for a while. You've been involved for a long time. The plan by the Democrats really worked. It took quite a few years, but it worked because right now, in the grade schools, in the middle schools, in the high schools, and of course the colleges, they are run by the enemy. And as I've said, you've got the educational system, which they aren't educational. You've got the media, educational system, the leftists themselves, and a few, and this is why you don't leave the party. You get rid of the clowns that are in it. Honest to God, it's really difficult because when we don't do our jobs, we don't win. Yes, the saddest part is that 98% of the fraud is in less than 10% of the districts, of the precincts, and that's just it. And everybody, it's not just, we can look at Pennsylvania and say, well, it's their job. It's our loss. I want to do everything I can to make sure. It would be really great, and we don't know what's going to happen. And Jim, I hope you're wrong. There's a lot of things I hope people are wrong when I hear things. My biggest goal is to make sure that we have people that are there to change things. And I will bring them to schools because we got today's March 1st, and I guess it's 5 weeks from tomorrow. We're going to have election here in the state of Missouri, and every person out there needs to be involved in changing it, one county at a time. You know, right now we work in Jefferson County, and don't let that. You know, I know a lot of people are like, well, what's that got to do with me? Because as we get bigger and better, and we find out there's a lot of people going to our join us in the real Republicans, then we can spread out and expand it everywhere else. But you know what? This means we have to do something, and over the weekend, and there's something else I'm going to say to somebody, and if she's watching, I hope she learns something, because unfortunately, she's trying to spend so much time trying to instruct me, okay? I don't need you to tell me what to do. You're brand new in politics. And unfortunately, your head got so damn big, it's not even funny. And I think a few people know who I'm talking to here. Hello, Mr. Charlie. And so, don't come preaching to me. Don't come telling me about something that you have zero clue about. Because, I hung up on somebody the other day, and I just had enough. Stop preaching me. You know, I don't need, you know, at the meetings, I made a comment, and some of the super religious people run away with this stuff. And I get sick of it. I really do. Well, if you don't do it this way and you don't do it that way, then you don't care about. That's the problem with religion. You know, you know what, Charlie, my friend Charlie and Jim, I don't know what they are. If they believe in Christ, whatever. I don't know what they believe. And you know what? Honestly, we didn't even know about Ronald Reagan, except he had his personal relationship, which is what it's all about. But the other day, I had this disagreement with somebody on the phone, and I hung up. And I said, don't preach to me. And I'll be damned if she didn't turn around and start sending me text, trying to tell me, let me come over there and read you scripture. Go away. I don't need it. If it, you know, you do what works for you. And I love the fact that I don't know what religion, whatever Charlie is. I don't know. I don't know what Jim is. It's between myself and God. And you're nowhere in between. So don't preach to me. Don't tell me how I need to do things, especially when you have like 1% political knowledge that I have. And the experience, my God. You know, Jim, you've been doing this for a while too. Charlie, so have you. The experience we have is just, it's gold, isn't it? We've been doing this for a while. We've been watching. We're involved. We go to things. We ask questions. We don't tell. We listen. You know, Charlie, you did something I do. Except, you know me, every once in a while I do have to say something. But when I was in a meeting Charlie was at for Perry County, he was asking the people questions. That's what you do. That's how you learn. And you can ask questions a lot of times, and I do this all the time. You can ask questions, and people won't even have to know what you're asking. I mean, who's asking it? Or what? I mean, I'm sorry, without telling them things. I'm not saying that right. You can ask a question and tell them at the same time. That's what I really meant. You can do that very, very easily. But unfortunately, too many people, it's like somebody that just learned how to do something, and all of a sudden they become the expert. You know, I remember a relative of mine one time. I made a comment to her. She made a comment to me. She said, "Yeah, we're going to redo our bathroom." And I said, "Oh, I didn't know you and your husband knew how to do that." "Oh, we don't." Okay. She goes, "I saw it on TV and it looks really easy." Well, by God, why in the world are all these people in business if it's so easy? Unbelievable. You know, the problem with that is you make a lot of mistakes. And that's fine. It doesn't make a difference. So anyway, See, I'm looking here. I'm not getting. Okay, I got to look at both. See, on the other platforms, you're not seeing the stuff that's happened on the Facebook feed too. I'm looking at a few feeds here, so please understand, everybody, that I'm just going through all this stuff right now. Let me see here. Okay. Jim says, I'm a strong believer in Jesus. I disagree with many of my fellow believers in that I think you have a right to go to hell if you want to. This is between you and Jesus. And exactly. It's not my, the worst ones push people away. They push me away. And so if that person is watching, you need to settle down. I got to tell you, this same person made a comment on Facebook and trying to push for people to vote for school board people. And because of the demeanor of this person, and I'm saying this because I hope they learn from it, because of the demeanor of this person, then some of the people there said, I'm not voting for him if you like it. Now, don't be so shallow, and they may be saying that anyway, but don't be so shallow. Find out who these people are, because just because one person is seems to be off their rocker doesn't mean they all are. And it's not to be rude. It really isn't. It's just that when somebody goes through these emotions and Jim, Charlie, I bring you guys up because you're actually older than I am. And don't you love it? Don't you love it when somebody comes up to you that has very little experience and knowledge? Very little. Don't you just love it when they do that and start telling you things that you know better? They just get involved and it just is And you know what? Something else too is I heard one of the best ones yesterday. George Burns. George Burns made a comment. He said, "I was taught to respect your elders." He goes, at this point, I don't have to respect anybody because he was older than everybody else. And I kind of laughed and I said, well, I have to. Maybe that's why we get that way, guys. You get older and we are taught to respect our elders. And I do, as long as they're reasonable. But respect your elders. But these days, there's less and less people I respect because especially the 20 and 30-somethings, they know everything. Everything. So, all right. President Trump yesterday. Let's get to that. Everybody, I know people can't wait to talk about it. President Trump was a superstar yesterday, as usual. And he's not going anywhere. He hasn't gone anywhere. He's not going anywhere. If you think for 1 minute that he gave up, you're nuts. You're crazy. Because the man doesn't like to lose. And it's really funny because he made a comment. He says, I may have to beat him for a third time. He would be right. He would be right. I want to go to one other thing, something Jim was talking about. Jim made a comment. He said, I don't think it's going to change because of the electors. And by the way, I don't think most people even know. I don't even think most people even know that the electors that they talk about many times were put there illegally. And when they were, that's where you go to your own Supreme Court. They won't even listen to you. We have that problem with the Supreme Court itself. You have that issue. And where was I? I'm reading here. Okay, you go to the Supreme Court, and they don't want to hear it, and you're right, and they don't. What's the point of having a Supreme Court if they don't want to hear some of these cases? And why are they dragging ass? And to be fair. And this is no reason why they should ever do it. To be fair, if you were to go against what these leftist nutcases are doing, they'll come and haunt you down. I wouldn't be least bit surprised if some of these Supreme Court people are saying, I don't want anything to do with this. There's no way. No way. So anyway, is this going to YouTube? Let me see here. Yeah, it is working on YouTube also. All right. Like I said, we got plenty of platforms here. Right? We're on like several platforms right now. It's just, it doesn't matter. I'm a Catholic from Perry County. The priest didn't want to, but made the announcement that the Archdiocese of St. Louis has made mask mandatory. Now I'm looking for another church. I'm surprised you haven't been looking for another church since you got that guy they call that socialist pope you have. And you know what? The Catholic Church has changed big time. So many churches, and Charlie, I would imagine, I'm not saying you, but I've talked to some Catholics that absolutely are not happy with their own church right now. They are leaving in droves, and they're not happy with the Catholics with this Pope socialist view. And I don't blame them at all. I really don't. What is it about? One of the problems I've always had with religions is, not all of them, but a lot of them, is you have to believe my way or you're going to hell. And I'm not going to talk much about religion, but I'm going to bring it up a little bit. Why is that? If you eat meat on Fridays during Lent, then oh my God, you've sinned. No offense, I'm not Catholic. I never understood that. I was like, so God's going, you're not a good person if you eat that on, whatever. And my friend Linda left Catholic Church. I can't tell you how many were. Yes, okay, so let's go back. I'll stop with all that crap. Sorry. In Tampa, there were mostly, let me see, they did a poll, and most of the people said, we want Trump as president. Some of them came back with DeSantis because DeSantis is doing things, and I'm going to add Kristi Noem in there. I mean, honestly, can you imagine having a Trump or DeSantis, and I'm still a Trump guy, with Kristi Noem as vice president? You got your woman on the ticket that they always say they want, who's at least got some brains. I think that would be the way to go, don't you? Because honestly, if we don't get people to stop saying we don't want if we don't get people to stop saying that we want to get rid of the Republican Party, that would be a huge mistake. And because 5% of the party sucks really bad, let's give it 10%. So are you, if you got something at home and 90% of it is great, the problem is we have the bad leadership. So, if you're a Trump fan, then you have to agree with what I've been going along with for a while, and that is, let's be real Republicans and not be phonies. I don't even want to call them, he called them rhinos, which is what I used to call them. But I like, maybe I'll get a hold of the president some way. Hey, they called me, but maybe we can get a hold of them some way. Because honestly, if we do our jobs, and I've said this for a while, if we do our jobs, beside him, let's not put all our effort into President Trump and be done. You can't do that. I'm not laughing, Carl. I'm not laughing. Yes, President Trump was great, among others. Pompeo. And you know what? It's really good. This is something that everybody who's wondering, why should I do this? We have a nucleus there, but they were not in leadership. But we have to get rid. Here's what we got to get rid of. We got to get rid of all the ones that President Trump named. Kissinger, and a bunch of the other reps and senators, McConnell, All those. Murkowski, Susan Collins. I could go on and on. Cassidy, Sass. We need to get rid of all these people. But that's in their own states. And I would bet you if there was an election held today, and this is where we really have problems, this is why you got to get involved. If there was an election held today, guess what would happen? All those people I described would be gone. That I mentioned would be gone. Every one of them would be gone. So, look at it this way. And I'm putting Roy Blunt here too, Ann Wagner. They're hiding. Right now, they are hoping their inactions, which is just as bad as actions, their inaction, this is how they play the game. They're hoping that their inaction, you won't remember it. But I guarantee you, real Republicans, myself, and so many others, we do remember. And we're going to make sure that we get some very qualified people with integrity running against them. Every single one of them. And Scott Sifton is not the way. And this is where Republicans have to be smart. So let's go back to Trump again. I keep bouncing off of there, but the reason is because Trump needs all these other people. He needs everybody. And that's where people have to understand. Every state needs to have that legislature. And I keep telling you people, we need to get rid of the 17th Amendment. That is by far the most disgusting amendment out there. There are all these senators. Alaska is a Republican state. But these loser, and some of the other ones are too, but they have Republicans there because that's all they have. But Murkowski, she's in Alaska. If they had the Constitution as it was originally written, Murkowski would be gone. We wouldn't be worried. See, that's just it. We're worried about these elections. I don't know about Georgia. I have a feeling that the Democrats wouldn't be there. At least we'd have the two less evil Republicans. But here we have all these legislatures, and, that's what the states are all about. The states are supposed to be sovereign. And we have all these legislatures out there that are run by Republicans, and they have a bunch of they're not represented. That's really what it amounts to. I really wonder. I really do. Maybe I ought to start doing some man on the street stuff. Go somewhere and say, do you believe that the senators should be appointed by the legislatures? Or no, actually, I say there are people out there that say that should happen. What do you think of that? Maybe set it up by Constitution question. Do you actually agree with the original Constitution? But I'll bet you most of the people don't even realize the 17th Amendment is one of the biggest mistakes ever by our legislators, ever. And I would hope everybody watching this show right now would agree with that. We cannot continue. We cannot continue to have this stuff happen. And this is why, maybe that's why less people watch this show as others, because they're being educated. A lot of people just want to be on a side. They don't care to be educated. They don't realize that I think if you're getting screwed by the Republicans, I think you ought to know why. I think it's really important. Capitol officials controlled by Pelosi rejected my recommendation of 10,000 National Guard for January 6th because of optics. Now, let's look at that. You have to ask, if Nancy Pelosi really believed that they could be attacked. Now, number one, she knew up front that the Trump supporters are not the violent ones as the left is. She knew that up front. So, as a thinking person here, you have to look at it and you go, all right, let's stir up some crap. Let's drag some people in there. Let's drag some people in there. What platform you? Oh, okay. And let's go ahead and blame it on the Trump supporters. Because, a bunch of them are going to go in. They're going to say, yeah, we're doing it. And so they went ahead and worked with Antifa. That's what the left does. Look, that is their militia. That's their militia is BLM and Antifa. So they went ahead and worked together, and they said, let's go in and break in. We'll make sure we got the media that's on our side, that they go ahead and cover it. I guarantee you this is what happened. So they went ahead and said, let's go ahead and do that, and let's go ahead and we'll rush it. The other ones, and we'll even have some of the people on our side, the Capitol Police, allow others to go in. So it looks like it was all Trump supporters. They did that. And you can't go a day on the national media without seeing what happened January 6th. With their own interpretation. They never talk about any facts. The only thing they do is say, when the Trump supporters did their insurrection, they used that. When they did all this stuff, that's what they did. We don't hear about any of the other stuff going on. None of it. And you wonder why other people, and you're right, Jim, city people can't think straight. They buy the progressive narrative. That's what they buy. And by the way, if you're in the chat room there, in Facebook, a lot of people are now going to the other platforms, and I can see a lot of other comments here. So just so you don't think that. Charlie, I'm right. That's exactly what happened. And so, but this goes back to what I say about real Republicans and so many other things. If we have a section of the media, we can go out there and we can do this. We can say, no, this is what happened, but we got talk radio. We have a few platforms here, which are being censored by social media. And so what they've done is they've got rid of the First Amendment no longer is around, according to the left. Isn't it funny? When I was growing up, all I could hear the left say was that we need to make sure that we keep the First Amendment. We have a right to speak our piece. And really, there may have been a few people on the right. I don't think very many, but I would say, yeah, you have a right to go ahead and do that. Just not violently. And we still believe that. However, now they just want to shut you up. We don't like, there should be no reason to have hate speech. And if you don't agree with the left, what are you? If you don't agree with the left, then you are automatically a racist. The word racist has become, between racist and hero, those two words especially, have been the most trashed words in the English language, especially the word racist. Hell, if you're white, you're automatically a racist. It's really sad. It really is. And this is why the leftist media runs this show. They get away with it because we allow it. And that's why the actions of the right have to really take, if we hear, you want to see some headlines, and it will happen. In Jefferson County, if we get the few people, and there's not enough, I'll tell you right now, I get really irritated, but we just got started, so we'll do that. But everybody ought to be pouring in saying, we got to get these people elected. Can you imagine the headlines in the papers like, yeah, it looks like the Republicans are taking over. You're going to wake up the left even more. And we're going to take over even more if we do our jobs. But we still want government to do it. We want, I'm tired of reading. I'm tired of reading about term limits. We have term limits. But we want government to do our job. Older Christian white men are definitely racist. You're right. Just by the fact of my white privilege, let me tell you something. When I was growing up, especially where I grew up, I never felt like I had any privilege. Any privilege. And honestly, if you ask anybody that grew up in our area, no. No. And I will tell you something else. Were there some police officers that were racist? Yeah. By the way, black and white. But most of them were white at that time. And some of them were. By the way, damn near every one of them was a Democrat. Mark my words on that. They were Democrats. Because it was the Republican Party that started out by saying, no, wait a minute. We want, and it was started by blacks, we think that everybody's created equal. And that's what we've always believed. I've never, in my life, have I ever said the N-word? You damn right I have. I'm not going to lie to you. Hell yes. But I said it about people's behavior, and they happen to be that color. That doesn't make me a racist. I don't care what you say. I don't look at a race. You know, I got to tell you something. Wendy and I go VFW sometimes. There's a really cool guy walks in there. He's one of the few black guys in there. I go over and bull with this guy all the time. One of the funny, we have a blast. We're going to do, we're talking about, I'm not sure I'm going to do it, but we're talking about doing a duo up there, doing My Girl, or I went up to him and said, let's do a Temptation song. He's just a really nice guy. Oh, you're a racist because you're pointing that out. See, you can't win. This is why the left is all about emotion. But let me go that step farther. It really has to. I got to irritate the right too while I'm at it. It's about emotion for the right too, who want to deny that. Not all the right. There are people like myself and some others that we are honest about it. You know, when I look at these people, honestly, I look at them as good people. You have to be careful what you say around others, but honestly, if somebody told me something, you know what? If you were in St. Louis area, I should say, if you're not from this area, there's a term called Hoosier. And it doesn't mean you're from Indiana. I mean, we all understand that. In fact, you know, I got to be honest with you. Not until I was probably a teenager did I know that the term for Indiana people were Hoosiers. I didn't know that because I was considered a Hoosier. And I was. But a Hoosier was white trash. That's what it was. That's what it was. Now, here's what's really funny about it. As we laugh at ourselves on some of this stuff, because you grow up in a city or in a metropolitan area and you develop certain habits. And you know what? I could go through some of them. You know, it's like you could tell you're a St. Louis Hoosier if you say farty. Highway farty. Or here's one of my favorite ones I give someone in particular grief about. Warsh. Now, that doesn't mean they're bad, but, you know, if I look at the people in my family and some of the other ones, they were always in jail for something, and they were stupid, and they would get drunk and just dumb stuff. And they you know, some were criminals, and they were Hoosiers. They were the same as the N-word. I'm not going to say the N-word because I don't need for Facebook to go after me. But we looked at him and said, damn Hoosiers. But I got to tell you something. When I was growing up, I knew the word Hoosier was not very complimentary. So I went ahead and said, I don't want to be a Hoosier. And I did everything I could not to be. And we joke around and say you can't get it all out of you, but you can. So, all right, let's go back to Trump. You see, everything I'm talking about relates to what I've been saying and what Trump's been saying. But the First Amendment, we talked about that. Trump wants to do something. He's calling for the states to do something. That means we have to put the right people in the states. That's what I've been saying for years. So he's calling for the states to do something. People need to call this jackass governor we have, Parson, and tell Parson that he needs to drop the emergency order. He needs to go after big tech. We need to have him tell Eric Schmidt, why don't you try doing your job instead of looking for the limelight? Go after big tech if you want to do something. Let's do it. And I'm going to be hard on all these people until they start doing their job. Every damn one of us should be hard on these people till they do their job. So we're carrying out All of us. President Trump isn't going to, he can call them. And, they look at, if they aren't on our side, it's only one person. But if we have 1,000 people call the Attorney General's office, say, we need to go after it. If we call our legislators and say, we need to go after big tech, we need to do all these other things that need to be there. We need to be a state where the federal government comes in and says, we're going to push our gun laws in you, and you say, no, it's not going to happen. We need to be a sanctuary state. That's what we need to be. We're supposed to be sanctuary states. It's too bad we have to even go and show it. And I'm taking what Trump said. We could talk about the highlights. And look, I listen just like everybody. But when he's doing this, just remember, it's going to take all of us. It's going to take all of us. I love this. So Trump calls on conservative states to punish tech companies with major sanctions. The reason I'm doing the way I have to do it now, and Wendy could get in trouble for this. She allowed me to go ahead and post to hers. Thank you very much. I asked her permission. All right, President Trump lays out what must be done to ensure election integrity in U.S. elections. Now, we can't just look at that and say, yes, you better do that. Every one of us. And if we have, in Jefferson County, for instance, most of the state reps there are not conservatives. And I would almost guarantee you in so many areas, the progressives, they use the R next to the name. Never believe for 1 second until you look at the voting record that they're really a conservative. Hey, Charlie, you're willing to, you're welcome to agree anytime. Charlie's back. I bring these people up, and I bring Jim up because they've been doing it for a while, and they know I know what I'm talking about. It's one of the reasons they like it. But we get all these other people, the people looking for a superstar to run their life and say good things. That's the problem we have. We've got to do more than just watch Trump say something or some other talk show host say something. We have to do. When there's a rally, we have to show up. Not because that person's there. Oh, wow, he says the greatest thing. That's hero worship. And as I've told people, time and time again, I do not worship Donald Trump. He's a hero in many ways, but I also know that he needs my help. That's why I do what I do. That's why we should all be involved in this. But I loved it. President Trump rips. I got the video. I want to play this. I do want to play this because that was something that was worth it right there. Let me set up for it real quick. That was, get right there. Give me 1 second, folks, and we'll have it. Okay, we're going to hear the press.
Shown for standing up to Democrats, the media, and the radicals who want to turn America into a socialist country. Instead of attacking me and, more importantly, the voters of our movement, top establishment Republicans in Washington should be spending their energy in opposing Biden, Pelosi, Schumer, and the Democrats. I've said to some of them, I said, during the Obama years and now during Biden, if you spent the same energy on attacking them, you'd actually be successful, as you do on attacking me in many cases. The Democrats don't have grandstanders like Mitt Romney, Little Ben Sass, Richard Burr, Bill Cassidy, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, Pat Toomey. And in the House, Tom Rice, South Carolina, Adam Kinzinger, Dan Newhouse, Anthony Gonzalez, that's another beauty, Fred Upton, Jamie Herrera Butler, Peter Meyer, John Katko, David Valadeo, and of course the warmonger, a person that loves seeing our troops fighting, Liz Cheney. How about that? The good news is in her state, she's been censured, and in her state, her poll numbers have dropped faster than any human being I've ever seen. So hopefully they'll get rid of her with the next election. Get rid of them all. Democrats are vicious. Remember this, it's true. Democrats are vicious, he said evil. Well, there is evil there. But they're vicious, they're smart, and they do one thing. Gotta hand it to them. They always stick together. You don't have Mitt Romneys in the group. They always stick together. Fortunately, for the Republican Party, they have horrible policies like open borders, sanctuary cities, defunding the police, and the ridiculous, totally ridiculous, Green New Deal. So they stick together, they're smart, they're vicious, they got everything going, but their policies are no good. So hence we have, congratulations, the Republican Party.
All right, there you go. And that's just it, the Republican Party. If you notice, he said Republican Party. And the reason I even say it like that is because the fact that when you have the Republican Party, we have to do something with it. We have to do something with it. That's the one thing that we're just not very good at. And we got to get better at it. We got to get much better at it. And I'm sorry if it delayed a little bit there. I'll find a better way to do that. But, you know, every single one of us really needs to pay attention to this stuff and know that if we don't continue to do what we do and be involved and help, start from the ground up, and that's the school board elections. If we don't do that, we're not helping a damn thing. Because right now, like I said, this is what the Republican Party hasn't done. And this is why we have to learn from our mistakes. We have to. We have to learn from our mistakes. When we have a party and all they do is just totally ignore what we say, every one of those people that President Trump talked about, like I said, would be defeated today, but would they be defeated in 2 years? I mean, next year? In next year's election, wouldn't it be great to have 5, let's just use numbers, a brand new senator in Missouri and 6 new congressmen? I don't know how many it is that we can't trust. The only one I know we can trust is Jason Smith. But how many of those other people do we have that we can really trust? I think Justin Hill's making a mistake. Justin Hill, I'd love to see Justin Hill run for Ann Wagner's district, if that's whose district he's in. It may be Blaine Luetkemeyer. Either way, hey, Justin, we're friends. Why don't you do that? Why don't you just put it up there? Say, I'm going to run against Blaine Luetkemeyer. Hell, what the hell? You know what? Since you did your thing, maybe Justin Hill ought to run against Roy Blunt. That would be wonderful. Justin's a good guy. Justin's not afraid to get up there and stand up and do what he does. And we need people. You know, this is something else, too. I want everybody to understand this. I always hear people say, well, they don't say much, but they vote the way I want. That's great. That's great. I want both. If you want to be my congressman, and if you want to be my senator, I want you to stand up like Jim Jordan and follow through with your votes. I just don't want you to quietly vote, and that's it. Because when you're quietly voting, you're voting on a lot of things we don't know. And Ann Wagner, for instance, in fact, I don't get this from Blaine, really. I mean, Blaine, you're welcome to come on my show anytime. I'd like to know when you stood up for our president. I know that you didn't many times. And that's the problem we have. I want these people to stand up. I just don't want them hiding behind the back. And really, as I've said before, if you're one of those people out there that says, well, I didn't vote for them. What am I going to say here? If you're one of these people that think that well, they've done something for you, like they helped you with a particular part of government, and you think you owe them for life, I think you're crazy. Thank you very much. That's their job to begin with. So I guess if they only do part of their job, you're okay with it? Are you so selfish to say, well, they only did something for me, that's all that counts, I don't care? Don't you believe that they say, yeah, do that for this nutcase or whatever, because they say that behind scenes, trust me. Do it for them because they'll go ahead and tell everybody else and they'll say I'm a great person and they'll vote for me, even though I don't do anything else for them. That's how they operate, my friends. And if, honest to God, if we don't do a better job with stuff like that, we deserve everything coming our way. We really do. We really do. So every person out there really needs to start really paying attention to this stuff. I'm preparing for break here. Get this going here. And yeah, I'm going to take a break, yes. Give you guys a break. How's that? You can get your coffee. And not only that, but we love watching Lane Greenwood. I'm hooked on it. I'm hooked on it, everybody. I'm hooked on it. Hope you don't mind. And I am learning how to use Rumble. By the way, you can go to YouTube. If you go to, you know what? I need to put that on my. I've been working on the websites. I've been doing that. And if you have any suggestions, please let me know. I'm getting better at it. I'm just not a very artistic guy. I'm sure most of you know that. But you know, I got to tell you something. I got something the other day from someone. The other day, was it? Let me see. Today was it Saturday? Yeah, Saturday. My friend Linda was sending out a text, and she did a group text. Probably not the best way to do it, but we're all learning here. And people start getting frustrated, upset, and being rude. And they're like, chill out. She's trying to do this. We'll find a different way of doing it. We certainly don't want to inconvenience anybody, because if the text is specifically for them, I get it. You know, we're not rude. But you know what? She's doing her job. I went on there. It's like, well, I just don't want this again. Come on. I thought Republicans were nice. Isn't it funny? We'd like to say we're nice, but things like that happen. And I believe me, I went in and I defended my friend Linda. She's out there trying to do what's best, and that's it. People got texts, and that's it. Yeah, they got a few texts, because the problem with the group text is that when you group text, then when somebody responds, that's it. By the way, go a step farther with that. One of the people, Linda, was responding, well, I didn't know anything about the last meeting. So I guess what we're supposed to do is we're supposed to go knock on their door, make sure they're home. If they're not, we got to go back, because I don't know how in the hell, I really don't know. How in the hell did they not know that we didn't have a meeting? I really don't get that. Do you? Of course we had a meeting. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. And the thing is I even text that person myself. So I know for a fact that they knew it. And it's really frustrating, because you're really trying hard to do the right thing, and it's not working. It doesn't work because you got too many people out there who just want to complain. You know, isn't it funny? And usually the ones that complain are the ones that don't do anything. The ones that do something know how hard it is. So thank you, Linda, for what you do. But if anybody knows me, I will support the people helping. And let me tell you, if you think I'm such a nice guy in front, I am, but I do put we got to get this done. We got to get that done. And guess what? Nobody's mad at me for saying it, because they know all of us are right. We got to get this done. And sometimes we need to help each other, and that's what we do. And that's the whole point of this. So if you're going to spend your time just complaining, go to the Democrat Party. They love, so the Republican Party. And by the way, if we want to change the Republican Party, if we really and truly want to change it, the way we do it, my friends, is by getting involved. That's what it amounts to. Getting involved and be part of the voice. That's it. So, all right, let me go ahead. We'll play a little Lee Greenwood hit as usual, and we'll take our break. I'll be right back.
work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today,
where the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me.
and I'm glad to stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt
I love this
land.
God bless the USA.
God bless the
From the lakes of Minnesota
to the hills of Tennessee,
across the plains of Texas, oh, from sea to shining sea,
From Detroit down to Houston,
New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, oh, and I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me.
and I'm glad to stand up next to you and defend her still today,
'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. God bless this country.
and I'm proud to be an American,
Where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up.
next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land.
God bless the USA.
Alrighty. That doesn't get you up, nothing will. And I can see it may have been dragging for you there. If it was buffering, I apologize. I'm gotta figure a way to stop that. Anyway, who knows? Who knows? Let me see what else I got going here. Probably need to get rid of some of these, and maybe that's why. Who the heck knows? We'll figure it out. So just bear with me, folks. Bear with me. That took an hour to take care of getting it out on the side. That's right. We're not getting paid for this. That's why it's like, oh, how dare you bother me? It's really, someone gets a text like, you don't have to do this. It's like, you know what? I'm just to a point with a lot of those people. We'll take them off. If they complain, and by the way, I did. We'll take them off. They don't need to be there. By the way, you want to hear something interesting? One of the people that was complaining, Linda, I don't know if you know this, had a mild heart attack later on. I'm dead serious. So you know what that tells me? Too much time complaining. Think I'm joking. I'm dead serious. Yes, actually had a heart attack after that. So maybe if people don't do that, then, maybe that mad will change. Who knows? Some people just don't have anything to do they? They really don't. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I hope that people do pay attention. I'm looking here. I can see when I open up Facebook, it just eats memory up like it's going out of style. So let me close Facebook real quick and see. How interesting. Yeah, had it. But you know what? Seriously, that's not our fault. You send somebody. I love it. Somebody says, well, if you want to send that text, they were frustrated and got a heart attack. It's like, really? I don't think that's it. Are you aging? This is worth everything we pay. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Yeah, well, you know what? It just is. And by the way, if this is important, because as I mentioned earlier about a certain person, she's going out there and she's endorsing people that we want to get elected. And some of the people are saying, well, if that's who she wants, we're not going to vote for them. Don't be so stupid and shallow. Hopefully you're just saying it because you don't like what she does, because we don't like what she does either. But don't associate that person with it. Please don't, because that's as stupid as a person that's doing it. It's if that's a case, then if a Nazi, a white supremacist, which, by the way, they support the left more than the right easily, but let's just say a white supremacist supported Trump. Trump had nothing to do with that. And I never understood that. And a lot of times, to tell you the truth, I've always thought this anyway, if you are a person who supports Trump, and I don't like you, why would I think your opinion means anything to me? Look, there's a lot of people I know support Trump that don't like me. I don't care. I just want them to support Trump. That's what we got to do. We got to support each other. But that's the one thing that conservatives don't do very well. And I think that bothers a lot of the people that are conservatives. By the way, Charlie, what's up with Keith? I haven't seen him for a while, and we need to talk. Something's going on, and I like Keith, so I hope he's okay. Well, I know about not proofreading. I'm trying my best not to let that happen. I've made a lot of dumb mistakes not proofreading when I do talk to text, especially. You ever do that? You do talk to text? The worst thing you could ever do is do talk to text while you're watching one of these murder shows, these corrupt crimes or whatever they are, and do talk to text at the same time. Because some people think you're nutso. They really do. They really do. So, anyway, I'm going to go back to one thing just to make sure, though. People do know. Oh, interesting. I'll have to do that, Charlie. I'm not a book reader, but I wouldn't mind getting the summary on it. Yeah, I have a habit. I'm not a book reader. Don't take it the wrong way. I'm not a book reader, and that's just where it is. So, yeah, find out. I mean, I'd like to know, because he's really a good guy, and I like him, and I hope I didn't say something or whatever. I don't know. God knows I say things, and I think a lot of times people take what I say the wrong way or whatever. But, well, Carl, in regards to what you're saying, I like Bob, and he does support Trump. So, too many people are looking for a perfectionist. I mean, a perfect person. When, he wouldn't even support his wife sometimes. Well, I have my values. Apparently, you may have your values, and I hope Bob is watching. Because I like Bob. I think he's an okay guy. I think he's way off the deep end. I had to unfriend him. I couldn't handle him anymore. But I couldn't handle him. I couldn't handle him for sure. Because he just went off the deep end. Well, Trump doesn't do everything perfect. It's like, he shouldn't sign this. It's called politics. Sometimes you have to do things you don't want to do in order to get other things done. It's not anything that any politician I know. It's not like anyone I know that does that. I don't know of any politician I agree with 100%. But I do understand politics, and I have to say that, do I like some of the stuff that Trump has signed? No. Everybody. But I look at it in totality, and if somebody can't look at totality, and here's the one thing. In a presidential election, they vote for somebody that has no chance. That's okay to some extent. But when you have to be concerned about Supreme Court and all these other things involved, all of them, because right now, even though I'm not happy with a couple of the justices that Trump supported, and I guarantee you Trump isn't either, at least they're not going to sell the Second Amendment down the Second Amendment down the road. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do some of those things. Well, I may have to check it out there, Charlie. I support Trump and have respect and well, thank you. I appreciate that. Because a lot of people, like I said, they just don't understand. They really and truly don't understand. They actually believe that if, how do I put this? If they just ignore it, it'll get better. How's that working out for you? Because it's not working. It's really not working. By the way, we can also be caught on D-Live, Super Dave Show. If you look on my page, it's on there. You hit that and it'll take you there, and you do have to come up with an ID so you can comment. But otherwise, you can stay there. Either way, it doesn't make a difference to me. But like I said, I see several platforms when I'm watching this, so that's why. So if I don't see what you're saying sometimes, please understand why. Yeah, Michelle's a sweetheart, but unfortunately, to tell you the truth, I think she kind of falls for some of his garbage. Yeah, I mean, there's no solutions there. That's the problem I have. There's no solutions. I'd rather do it nothing. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of someone that's got a meal in front of them, and they got a steak and potatoes and whatever, but there's something in that meal that they don't like. They say, no thanks, I don't want any. They push it aside. I don't want any of that meal. It's really a dumb thing. I'm sorry, it's just dumb. If I can't like everything on that plate, I'm not eating it. I'll tell you one thing to do. It'd get rid of the obesity situation, wouldn't it? But, it's really interesting. And yeah, Michelle's a sweetheart. She is. So, some of you people don't know I'm talking. I'm actually talking to one person in particular. It is neat. It is different. It is different. You see a format I don't see. So, I see it, but I'm actually looking on Facebook because Facebook doesn't. It's really interesting because Facebook does put stuff on there, or does it? Let me see. No, it doesn't put everybody on there. See, that's just it. Oh, I know why it doesn't. Because I don't. For some reason, it says it's not multi-streaming on Facebook. So I don't know it. It looks like it is. I'm not really sure. But maybe something I didn't do right. All right, back to President Trump. So we're here for, isn't it? We want President Trump to do everything. By the way, let's just go to this, and we don't know what's. Oh, I got to talk about this quickly. Yesterday, I was watching 60 Minutes. I can only put down about 5 or 6 minutes of it, but nothing worse than another hit piece to our President Trump. I mean, really. Without even going through any kind of research, which is not anything they do anymore, they ask a Democrat official about the vaccine. And of course, as you know, they carry the water out for them. So what did they say? They said, well, we got the vaccine, but there was nothing put in place as far as distribution. Really? How come there were 1.5 million shots given on, was it January 6th or on the last, whatever? There were plenty of shots given already. So anyway, it was a blatant lie. There's no doubt it was a blatant lie. And I will bring that up too. It was a blatant lie. And they just let him continue to lie. So if you are watching this, you're going, what the hell's that all about? I don't get it. Why in the world are they not doing anything? I don't get it. I really don't get it. They do no research, and people believe that garbage. And you would think, yeah. In fact, how he started out, he says, at first, the interviewer sets it up with a setup question that looks good for Biden automatically. I don't remember what it was. Doesn't matter. But then the Democrat officials said, well, let me just say this. We have to thank the people before the election, Pfizer, and he starts naming the drug companies. Never once mentioned the previous administration. Not one word. Never mentioned the fact that all these same Democrats said, you can't bring this vaccination out that quick. It's not going to work. Not going to happen. And what they did, what Trump did, the Trump administration did, is they got rid of everything blocking the speed of this coming out. That's what they did. And then they worked with UPS and the rest of them. But the guy lied right up front. So I'm watching this, and I can only handle so much of this stuff. I'm just to a point where I love my TV, and I don't want to break it. And I was ready to throw some of the TV now I think I'd really just turn it off. But I watched a few minutes of it. I tried. It was really difficult. It's just unbelievable. So anyway, that's what they started out with. So people just have to understand that this is a deep state connection with China, and Trump yesterday even made references to the point that they want to send those jobs back to China and India. They want the United States not to be the energy king. We were the energy king for the first time in our history. And the left doesn't want that. The left, guess what? The Mideast, who, remember the old cartel? You talk about cartels. Isn't it funny how we talk about the cartels, the drug cartels? The oil cartels are the same thing. Remember when they used to set the price to steal from Americans? They had the oil. We needed it because we were not energy independent, and so we went to them. Now the price of oil is higher now than it's been in a long time. Price of gas is what, $2.40 a gallon? By the way, 4 months ago, I paid $1.60. 80 cents a gallon. It's going to be $5 and $6 eventually. They are doing this to support our enemies. We have an administration now who are there to support our enemies. That's what they do. Oh, and I got rid of that. I didn't mean to get rid of that one. I got to fix our phone number real quick because I closed it. I'll figure out a different way of doing it. Oh, give me a second here. I'll get it. But here we are, energy independent, and now we aren't. And now the price of oil goes up, and all the other countries are happy. Russia is happy because Russia sells oil. We used to buy it all the time because we were not energy independent. Well, guess what's going on now? Guess what's going on now? Unbelievable. All right, the phone's okay. Phone number 636-344-0003 if you'd like to call in. Honestly, so when Trump brought that up, he was on target, of course, as usual. Because now we're not energy independent anymore. Now we have to depend on other countries. By the way, isn't it disgusting that when a conservative speaks up about the election or anything like that, the left and some of the Republicans, not conservatives, obviously, the phonies will go after him. Comment there. We lost Rush. Great loss. You know, it's hard for me to talk about Rush. You know, I as the distance of his death, it's almost 2 weeks ago. The distance of his death is there. It gets a little easier to talk about it, but I could tell that Trump had issues talking about it. I've heard interviews with some of these other people that do what I do, and they have problems. I mean, you choke up because I didn't agree with Rush all the time, but you know, this is what's important. You don't have to agree with me all the time, but a lot of people do. And on a lot of stuff I say, you don't have to agree with everything. You can be wrong on some things. Ha ha ha. Some people don't like the way I carry myself. Yeah, our enemies. And by the way, you know who loves green energy? Seriously, you know who loves green energy? Green energy? The Middle East, they love green energy. The Russians, they love green energy. Now you may go, why? Because they know it's not dependable. You know what? When you put gas in your tank, as long as your engine's running fine, it's dependable. And we got more of it than we know what to do with, even though it was been the liberals forever saying we don't have any. I didn't realize that Dems want a pipeline to pump water into Lake Mead. Oh, the Mississippi? Why don't they? Well, see, that's what happens when you know, I don't think people know this. I really don't. People don't know their geography. People don't realize what goes on. You know, did you know up at Lake Michigan, that Nestle company, which sucks out the water of Lake Michigan so they can put it in your bottles of water? Yeah. And Lake Michigan has gone down or whatever. I don't know all the particulars, but they don't have a problem with that. We don't. And one other thing I want to bring about Rush. The man started something that none of us could even imagine would be this big. And he learned at his age. I mean, as time went on. I mean, he did some things. He went after Chelsea back then when she was a kid. I didn't care for that. And you know, he learned from it, but he was taking risk, and he did. But as time went on, he got better and better, and he didn't do that stuff. But the one thing that I'll never forget this in the early 2000s. He said, "I've been carrying the water for the Republicans too long. Enough is enough." And for some reason, when Rush came along, especially, not Rush, I mean, when Trump came along, Rush tagged on to him, and that was it. Now, your friend, our friend Bob, may not have liked it. I don't think he likes Rush anyway. Didn't like anybody, doesn't agree with 100%. But you know something? Carl, you are smart enough, and that's why I don't think he's that smart, honestly. Sorry, Bob. Show me you're smart. Well, you just don't. Yeah, I believe in Constitution. I believe in all that stuff. But I also believe in reality. Yeah, give us those stimulus. Yeah, give us that stimulus check so we can pay higher gas prices, the food prices. And you know what? People don't even realize the fact that they say, just give me the check. I don't care if gas goes up. I'll have the money to pay for it. They don't realize that when gas doubles, by the way, diesel fuel, which is what trucks run on, diesel fuel mainly, when it doubles, you get to pay for it with your food and your products, every product you have that's delivered by truck. And here's the stupid thing about it anyway. Even Elon, Musk said it? He said, we can't produce enough electricity to take care of all the electric cars and windows to drive. For some dumb reason, we have liberals out there who think that that electricity comes from nothing. They don't realize that you have all these different ways of producing electricity. By the way, some of it's natural gas, some of it's oil, some of it's coal. There's, the one thing I've learned for a long time is never put all your eggs in one basket. Ever. When you do that, you're in trouble. And that's what happens. We get in trouble. We do get in trouble. I want to. This Representative Mark Kincham here. Let me get it here real quick. I do want to listen to this. I think it'd be interesting. We're not going to listen on. We're going to listen a little bit of it here. So let's do this. All right.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. We're here at CPAC in Florida. We're sitting down with Representative Mark Fincham from Arizona, and he is now suing several members of government in his state. So, Mark, real pleasure having you on Crossroads.
Thank you, Joshua. It's great to be here.
Tell us about suing your fellow government officials. How's this
So
going?
earlier in January, the Democrat members of the House and Senate sent a letter to the Department of Justice and the FBI accusing me of high treason, sedition, planning the insurrection, the attempted overthrow of our government. All patently absurd, fallacious claims. But then they turned around and sent it to the media as though it was factual. Well, in that, they committed malice. And I reached out to my lawyer friends and said, hey, this isn't right. All I did was go to the Capitol to deliver an evidence packet to Representative Gosar, who in turn delivered it to Vice President Pence. I was exercising my franchise, first of all, with free speech, but even more importantly, representing my constituents. So as a result of that, and the news media coverage of what happened at the Capitol, they engaged in this just fallacious behavior. So we decided to begin the process of suing each and every member who is on that list, who signed on to the letter, because 100% of them signed on to the letter.
Oh, wow.
So we started off with one of the members from Yuma, and we plan to not only sue members, but we're also going to be suing the news media as well, because they're the ones who propagated this whole false narrative.
And what was the allegation? What was contained within the allegation?
Well, that I had committed high treason, that I had planned the seditious behavior, that I encouraged, that I led, that I was somehow involved, and I was invited to be a speaker at a properly permitted event that was to be held at the Capitol after the president's speech at the Ellipse. Well, how could that possibly be, since I was, I don't know, somewhere between 300 and 500 yards away from the Capitol? I was never really there. I mean, I was there on the property, but I was at the outskirts of it. And as soon as I arrived and was able to find the folks who were leading the protest that I was supposed to speak at, they said, this has gotten out of hand, we're going to cancel it, and we think it'd be a good idea for you to leave. I took a picture and promptly left.
And how did the media frame this?
Well, the media has continually tried to associate me with the people who breached the Capitol violently. They have made the assertion that I led it, that I planned it, that I organized it. That okay, I don't have time.
You were a set speaker at the normal planned event.
I was an invited speaker at the permitted event. So there was an event that was on the 5th in the evening where it was pouring rain. Pretty good grouping of people. And then the following morning, I was supposed to be on the stage at the Ellipse, but that part of it was canceled. And then there was a third event that I was invited to speak at, and that was on, I don't know that it was on the steps. There was a platform and a soundstage and all that had been set up. But because I was never able to get close enough to the Capitol to see where that was at, I reached out.
Okay, I want to just end it there because I just want to know he's suing. He's suing the media, which is great. I want, everybody needs to do this. You know what? How about you lawyers out there? You figure out the best ways to sue the media. You know, this is just it. We can't just allow the media to lie. That just bothers me. You know, it's like, yes, you didn't investigate, but you didn't even talk to other people. See, if they are going to go out there and lie, then there's no doubt in my mind that they need to be stopped. We can't continue to allow this to happen. This is silly. We can't do it. And that's what we've done. So it's time that we, all of us, you know, we group together, all of us, and we get together and we sue these people. You know, there should be a way. Now, right now, like I said, we leave it up to one guy. No, we leave it to all of us. All of us, today, call Eric Schmidt's office and say, you need to go after big media, after social media. Call the governor's office and tell them the same thing. I didn't see that other part there. Banks going under, is there truth in that? And what's happening in West Virginia? I don't know. I'm going to have to look it up. I really don't know. I haven't heard that. I'm out of the loop. But anyway, back to what I was saying. All of us, we have to do our share here to make sure that we have everything we need. Everything we need to fight every bit of this. You know, we got to start fighting. That's what I've been saying for years. We got to start fighting. And it just can't be myself or a few people. You know, I got a question. Where are all those people that stood with us at the Jefferson County Health Department? Glad you were there. We don't want to be the minority, do we? Guess what? When you're the minority, you have to... You know what? I got to tell you something. When you're the minority, you better protest. You better do things. When you're the majority, you better stand up and defend it. Right now, we have taken the minority of our country. Don't ever think the majority of the country is Antifa and BLM. It isn't. Only 13% of the people are black, unless you watch TV. Then it's 80% of the people are black, or Hispanic, or Asian. Now, what are we hearing? What are we hearing now? Okay, how many times have you ever seen it where, and I can pull it up all over the place, where you see black gang members, I'm saying that's the way it is, gang members in these areas, and they go up and they pound somebody. They pound somebody walking on the street, whether it be a woman, man, old, young, didn't make a difference. They go up there and knock them out and sometimes kill them. But they definitely cause some serious damage. The media doesn't show you that. But the other day, I actually saw a white person doing it, and I would say the same thing about him. Bury that son of a bitch. That's how I think about it. How dare them do that stuff? But they're talking about how we're attacking Asians. So you white privileged people out there, you white supremacists out there, which I don't know of white supremacists. Actually, I know of a few, but they're the white supremacists. I mean, I know of a few, and guess what? Almost every single one of them is a Democrat. Almost every single one of them doesn't like women. As far as they don't think they're an equal. One of my favorite memories, it's the beauty of being old. One of my favorite memories is back in 2008, 2008, when they had the fight between Hillary and Obama. I'll never forget 2 union workers. You hear this? Union workers for the St. Louis Post-Disgrace. By the way, if you're not familiar with this area, it's the Post-Dispatch, and they are a liberal newspaper. They come into this place where my friend, who's a good Republican, was getting his work done. They came in and said, tell you what they said. They came back and they said, life sucks this time. Well, why is that? We got to Telling you what they said. This is what they said. We got a nigger and a dumbass bitch who are running for president, and we don't have anybody to shoot for. They were very unhappy. That's what these Democrats, I'm repeating, so don't said I said it. They said it. That's what they were saying about their own two people, Hillary and Obama, that were running. And the other guy and I looked at each other and was like, what do you expect from a Democrat? That's what we did. We kind of laughed. Because here we are. Now, back then, we weren't white supremacists. In fact, how come if you didn't, if it wasn't back then, notice the difference? And believe me, Hillary is a racist. I have no doubt about that. How come back then you weren't called a racist if you voted for Hillary? It was an equal fight back then. That was okay. But this election, because they have the media in their pockets, they are part of it. What happens? They come out. And if you vote for if you are a white person and you didn't vote for Joe Biden, who Joe Biden is a racist, if you are a Republican, you are automatically labeled a racist. They've been doing it for a few years. If you voted for Trump, you're a racist. The whole thing. It didn't make a difference. And people on the left are idiots. Yes, if you're a Democrat and you went along with that, I don't feel one bit sorry for you. I hope your gas goes up to $10 a gallon. I hope you idiots on the left complain for the next 4 years until we get a good guy back in to be president. And we're going to fix our election problems. That's not a problem. We're going to fix that. And so in the next election, you're going to get your asses kicked. In fact, the next year, and this is why we all have to jump on board right now. Let's get the schools taken over. Let's get the state legislatures taken over. Not by ours, by real conservatives. And when I say not by ours, well, they're Republicans. No, that doesn't mean they're conservative. And honestly, if they didn't stick by Trump, which we know that and Wagner didn't, Roy Blunt didn't, and so many others, when they didn't stick by Trump, they don't need to be there. And no, Trump is not. I don't like this. This cult thing is so degrading. We couldn't. Yeah, Hillary. Yeah, right. She's a devotee of Sanger. It's really interesting on the left. I find it so interesting. And for those people out there who are liberals watching this show right now, help me out here. You believe in Planned Parenthood. Well, but they're helping women with breast cancer. That's what they use. They're killing people. They're killing, well, those kids they're not wanted. Interesting how they do that. Good thing your mom wanted you. But they're not wanted. And then you go back and you say, do you know who Margaret Sanger is? I'll bet you, you know what? I wonder if I want to see if it says it there. Dead serious. Never looked it up here. Margaret Sanger was a devout racist. Margaret Sanger was an active birth control activist, sex educator, writer, and nurse. Sanger popularized the term birth control, opened the first birth control clinic. I'm looking. Let me see. I'm going to look. I'm not going to read it all. I'm going to just see if it finds the word racist on here. You ready for this? New York University's Margaret Sanger Papers project says through the letter would have been meant to avoid the mistaken notion that the Negro Project was a racist campaign. Detractors to Sanger, such as Angela Davis, have interpreted the passage as evidence that she calculated effort to reduce the black, which is what she was doing. But you go into Wikipedia here, and they correct it because they do not want to make it look like she's a racist. They totally rewrite history. 1619 Project. They totally rewrite history. How do you like that? They rewrite history so people don't know what it was really all about. It's really sad. It really is sad that we have people that go ahead and rewrite the real history of what really happened. I was joking with my friend who is absolutely not an abortion fan. I said, tell you what, if we can check in their DNA, maybe I'll go along with it. If we can check in their DNA that says that they're going to be a future Democrat, a leftist, okay, they can kill their own children. They can do that. Here you go. The 1619 Project is a long-form journalism project developed by Nicole Hannah-Jones, writers from the New York Times. Actually, you can always believe that. And the New York Times Magazine, which aims to reframe the country's history by placing the consequences of slavery and the contributions of black Americans so they don't want to talk about real history. They don't want to tell everybody. They don't want to tell everybody that it's about rewriting history. They don't want to talk about the fact that that they want to totally take out the fact that the Ku Klux Klan. Let me see. Is there any references to the Ku Klux Klan here? Let's see if there is here. Because I want to know. Well, wrong one here. I do want to find out. Shucks, it doesn't mention it. I'll be darned. All they want to set their agenda up so people don't know real history. By the way, there's also another project, the 1776 Project, which is something that every person on the school board is pushing. We don't want people to go in and rewrite history and lie about what happened. History is history. You know what? We learn from history, and what we do from history, at least some of us. Hey, Republicans, let's write our own history real quick, all right? If you aren't helping us on the right to reclaim our country for what we really are, the Germans weren't this way back before Hitler got involved. But Hitler said, let's take over the schools. He did a great job. Let's take over schools, do all that stuff, and they did. And so in the 30s, all of a sudden, the people started telling on each other. They became their own Nazis. It's like the mask orders. Not the mask mandates. Orders are nothing. The mask mandates and the restrictions. If a restaurant opened, you had little Nazis. I call them little Nazis running around reporting on those people. We don't care if you go broke. We want to make sure you get in trouble. Isn't that great? That's what we become. We have become everything that we're supposed to remember from the 1930s. So for you people on the right, not that you do that as much, the other thing was, this is for you people on the right. The reason for the mask in America is for compliance, is for control. And if you have bought their song and dance about COVID, look, I saw something in the on media earlier this morning. There's a police officer who spent 45 days in the hospital recovering from what they call COVID. And I say what they call COVID because I don't believe any of them anymore. But let's just say he was. People recover from the flu. They recover from pneumonia. Guess what? They don't recover from cancer. Oh, yes, sometimes they do, but many times they don't. Rush Limbaugh didn't. Think about it. There are so many people out there that don't recover from things that they get. You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of the fact that the people in the cities that we make fun of, oh, forget it. I'm just, the whole thing is like, that's why we all have to wake up on the right. We have to wake up and then we got to get involved. That's just it. So anyway, I'll go back to this a little bit, then I'll get off of it. But I'm talking a little bit about Margaret Sanger and Planned Parenthood and all that stuff, the 1619 Project. You can read the headlines all day long, and we go back to them sometimes. But all this stuff has to be there. You're the second person who told me about that. One of my friends told me, I got something else to tell you too. I know some of Wendy's friends listen too. One of her friends got cancer. They've been having, cancer's been happening for a long, long time. Now, she was not a mask person. But because she got cancer, she said, yeah, we can go back. When I'm finally better, we can go back, because Wendy has this widow's night. They go somewhere. A bunch of old ladies go, anyway, a bunch of widows go somewhere and they hang out. And but she's demanding that they all wear a mask. It's like, no, I'm not wearing a mask. I'm sorry you got cancer, and I don't think the fact that I'm sitting there breathing is going to make a difference. And if you are concerned, just stay home. That's all you got to do. We'd love to have you there, but don't expect other people. I mean, people get cancer all the time. It just, but I'm sure that's what their doctor said or whatever. But they're also go by the farce because they got something, and all of a sudden it's related. My doctor said this. I'm sorry, but not all doctors agree. Hey, Doc Neely, if you're listening, I'll bet you have differing opinions than people just like you who are physicians. Even the specialists have differing opinions. They're specialists in fields. They all have differing opinions. So anyway, and then my friend Linda, can I say this, Linda? She would tell me a story where they have a wedding shower. I'm going to tell it anyway. And someone said started using the CDC guidelines and say, so we all have to social distance. We all have to wear masks. And you're talking to Linda here? Yeah, Linda says, I'm not wearing a damn mask. Just like Wendy said, I'm not wearing a mask. I guess you don't want me to come to your shower. Whatever happened to choice? You have a choice. And it's no different than anything else. You have a choice. You don't have to go. You don't have to go. I don't. If somebody told me that I had to do that, that we're going to have this, but you have to wear a mask, the chances of me going are less than 1%. It'd have to be something extremely special. And by the way, what's this stuff now? You know what? I want to ask you ladies something. In fact, I know women don't even like go to showers, but they do anyway. But now, since we have to take away the masculinity of men, now the cool thing is you invite the males. I don't call them men. You invite the males. And you are expected to go. The women have a shower. And they go there and give gifts and all that stuff, whatever. But if you don't go, then you're not a good parent. Yeah, all of a sudden, I wonder if you're a racist too. But, it's like, if you guys want to shower, that's fine. You know what? I'll go out with the guys and we'll have a couple beers and bullshit and we'll say, yeah, congratulations, man. You're having a baby. Good for you. And for presents, we'll get them another beer. The point is it's a tradition. But all of a sudden, we got to become inclusive. Now we got to have guys in on this. Why do we have guys in on this? I don't get it. I really don't get it. Maybe you do. Maybe you do, because I really don't. So anyway, let's get over that stuff. It's. I really am hoping, though, that we had this other one here. Let me see real quick. Yeah, what are we gonna do with the FBI? I was looking at about the evidence of FBI corruption. I guarantee you one thing, though, and this is probably a good thing, and I know people don't like this. But it's probably not a bad thing there. If let's say, for instance, things go, where Biden is there for 4 years, and we stay on top in those next year, we can totally take over the Senate and the House, and then everything's different. We can totally take over. Oh, but those voting, we can take care of that. We can do that. For you people that gave up, turn me off. I don't want to hear about it. I'm sick to death of negative people who say, well, we can't do anything. We're done. We're toast. No. If you're not a fighter, go away. But we take over by getting involved. We take over by helping the people who are running for school board. All those things. And by the way, this is a message to some of you people out there that want to run for office, and you're going to want our help. I will tell you right up front, I will have no respect for you whatsoever, and I will guarantee you, none of us will have any respect and no desire to help you unless you get involved with real Republicans, because we're not going to sit there and be your cash, till. That's not going to happen. You're going to be involved, and you're going to help us get new people elected in the meantime, and show that you really care about the movement, not about your run for state rep or whatever you want. And that's not to be mean. It's to be upfront honest with you. That's where we're going with this. People should know better than expecting a secret to be kept by... Well, no, that wasn't a secret there, Carl. You know what? If I could spend a month on shows of secrets that people have told me, I would never do it. People have told me, and I would ask them up front, is this something I knew? With Linda, she didn't care. She's not worried about it. If you know Linda, you're not worried about it. Linda, are you concerned about anything I just said? Not at all. Hell, she tells me what she says about some things, and she goes, I don't care. Because if Linda says it, she doesn't care who hears it in most cases. Now, there are some people out there I have to be very careful with. I get that because of their position. But others, I'm not that concerned about. And look, I have a lot of confidants, by the way, that do talk to me, and they say, make sure it doesn't get out there. And believe me, it doesn't. And if I don't remember if they said yes or no, which is highly possible, I don't give it. But I guarantee you, if they tell me, no, I don't want that out there, it doesn't go out there. I do remember that. I really do. So it's, if someone tells me things, I got a lot of people that tell me things that I don't say. Just don't know. Just don't know. Well, if you want to have those tips that I get, you cannot forget the fact that it's in confidence. That's bottom line. And I don't forget that. I really don't. So just so you understand. By the way, there are people out there that do. Look, when you get me, you get out front honesty, and that's it. That's the way it goes. So for you people out there, who are running for office, I expect you put your name on the bottom line. I expect you, if you want money from our organization, you better start funding it yourself, because when yours comes up, we're going to look at you and say, we're not helping you because you didn't care about the other people. And if you go there only caring about yourself, but try to feed us that line of crap, and I'm letting you guys know that up front, if you think that's what you're going to do, it's not going to happen. We will gladly help you, but you have to help others. This is about all of us helping, not just me. And there's a few of us that have been giving for quite a while. And I guarantee you, if I had them on the show, every single one of them said, you know what, it's time somebody else starts doing the work and bucking up. Every one of them. There's a lot of very good people that are in the legislatures who have had to do that. And look, even with what I do, I get people to tell me what I have to do. You need to do this, you need to do that. Especially in real Republicans. I get that all the time. Until I see your name bucking up, I'm sorry. And if you don't think that politicians don't think that way, but I'm there to help. It's really interesting. Like I've used this story before. So many people say, well, I don't put any money up. but I'll be glad to help. That's the biggest line of crap I ever heard in my life. Because damn near every person I know, anybody listening right now, if you've been involved, you tell me if I'm right. Damn near every person I know that tells me that doesn't do either one. They use the part, well, I'll give my time, but I'm not giving any money. And I'm calling them out. They don't like it. Go to the Republic, go to the established Republicans and say, I'll vote for whoever you want. Because I don't care whoever else is, because I don't want to help, and I certainly don't put my money out there. That's what happens. So those you watching the show right now, I really want to know that. I really want to know if, by chance, if that's where you are with that. Happens all the time. So, go to realrepublicans.net. It's really easy to do. Let me see here. By the way, I want to show everybody something that I never understood. In fact, this is to give somebody grief for what they were saying to me the other day. Make sure we got everything out of the way there. Okay. I'm going to bring up our website real quick. I don't know if you can see it on your phone. I'm just going to do it real quick and show you something here. Got to put this. Let me see. All right, here's the screen there. All right. You see that button right there? Okay, I'll circle it. See that button right there? It's not that hard to do. You go to it, and you push, and it says contribute there. That's what it says. Comes up, and there it is. My God, it's right there. It's easy to do. You could donate once, and hopefully you donate monthly. That's what we want. All right, but that's one. All right, let me show you another one here. This is for the woman that said, I don't know what you're talking about. I never saw anything. See right there, it says, next event, Saturday, March 27th at 1 p.m. Bring your family. And anybody can see that it changes colors. You press that, and it goes there, and it says, stay tuned for announcement next event. I haven't had a chance to fix that yet. But I just said what it was anyway, so it doesn't make a difference. So I'm going to go this again. Oh, darn it. I went too far there. Let me bring it up real quick here. Okay, let's go here one more time. Endorsements. See this here? Endorsements. These are the endorsements. Fox School Board District. Rick Lamborn, Wendy Moore, Northwest School District, Jason Monkey, Windsor School District, Charles Huey, and Perry County Health Board member Keith Carroll. Those are all members. They're all members. We want to do everything we can to make sure that we have who we have there. So you can go through this and check everything out. By the way, you can help do this too. I don't have a problem with that. So, all right, let's get back to the regular screen here. But I'm just showing you that. There's no excuse. And when somebody says, oh, I didn't know it, that means you weren't looking. You weren't even trying. You're the same people that go to the damn polls and you go, I don't know who these people are. Nobody knocked on my door and said, hey, here. Hell, they send you things you throw in the trash. Well, I don't want this. I remember one woman told me one day, she goes, well, I thought it was trash. Did you read it? It said vote for it. And I said, oh, I'm sorry. Somebody took their time and their money to pay to have us sent to your house. In fact, there's people out there. I don't get this. What is with you conservatives? I have actually seen people send it. I'm glad you asked that, Elizabeth. I have seen people send it, though. People will send you information. They will send it to you. And in fact, this goes to what you're saying, Elizabeth. They will, people will work hard in groups. This Sunday, Linda, please give me those times and place again. Give me that. But there are people on Sunday that are doing things. But where was I going here? I'm doing 1,000 things at once. But there are people that will send someone. So I'm sorry, I got it now. Send somebody a mailer. You get this all the time. Now, the candidates with all the money are the ones who use the mailers. But my son, for instance, sent mailers out, and I actually had people say, well, I didn't really know what it was. I threw it in the trash. He didn't have a lot of money. He was trying to help you, and you didn't have the decency to look at. I look at every single one of them, and I laugh. Some of them I use for my show. Elizabeth says, Dave, besides financial, how can I help those running for positions to next month's election? I had knee surgery the past month and still have foot problems. God, you sound like me. Well, you can always go to financially, if you go to realrepublicans.net, in fact, I'm glad you brought that up because I'm still trying. Look, I am doing my best to learn to be a website guy. And one of the things I'm going to do is have a questionnaire there. That's a great thought. Unless it does. Let me see here real quick. I want to do that. I want to have it in such a way that you go in there and you say, these are things and that we want to do. That I would like to do or can I do or make suggestions. In fact, we'll call suggestion box. How's that? I'm glad you bring these things up. That's why I tell people, if you have a whole bunch of people, you will ask questions that I will not ask or forget to ask or not think of. That's why there's so many things that we can do. But see, we have Elizabeth there who's asking, what can I do? What can I do? It just is, it can work. But, as I listen to what you're saying and all that, I will do a better job. I told you, I'm always looking for help, always. So please understand, I don't consider it, in fact, what you said was, what can I do? What can I do? You know what's so beautiful about that, Elizabeth? Is you're not saying, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this. I think that is awesome. That's exactly what I want to hear from people. What can I do? Instead of telling me what I need, what I must do. One guy says, well, if we're only gonna help Republicans, it's like, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're real Republicans, and we believe the people we have running are better. Now, I will tell you right up front, if we have a loser, if we don't get, let's say, Ann Wagner's district, this is the hard part. I don't want you to think this way. If we cannot take over Ann Wagner's district, which I hope we can, and maybe Blaine Luetkemeyer, if we can't take over the district, then we're going to let them know that we're going to vote for a Democrat unless they decide to make a promise to us that they're not going to vote the way they've been voting. Because what's the difference? I will do that. Am I in trouble? Problems then on a daily basis. I receive 100 plus emails and 15 or more. And I'm not, the emails actually, and see, let me tell you something here, Carl. This is why we can't win for losing. All right. If we only sent emails, number one, when we get people's email address, you can't read half of them anyway. You just can't. I mean, I got a bad habit of that too. I do my best. Mine's actually pretty easy because mine's superdaveshow@gmail.com. But some people have all these different letters and numbers. You can't read them. But you can usually read the numbers. And a lot of people, as you said, get all these emails. I get them. I understand what you're saying. And I delete most of them. I do. I can't read them all. Oh, I see. Okay. Well, I didn't think I was in trouble. I was just having fun. But that's what we need to do. But let's get back. Snail mail. Wait. Well, the snail mail we would only do on a postcard thing or something like that, whatever. And that's really, we don't want to go. Look, you know what? I love when people go, well, just send me something. Just send me something in regards to Republicans. And I go, well, that costs money. You don't have money? Yeah, we got some money. But we're not going to spend it on you unless you're going to help do it. As I've said before, this is something we want to change. We are right now in the process of getting signs together so we can put it up for our representatives, for school board in our area, for instance. And by the way, Keith has already told me that he's done really well. The people in his area, you hear that? The people in his area have sent plenty of money to him to help him run for school board. I will say one thing about these little towns. They are much better at that than we are. Now, we can say, yeah, but we get hit all the time. But you don't do anything anywhere. And you're part of this. You help make the decisions. So when we buy these signs and we put them up, guarantee you, we buy the signs and put them up. Guess what? It'd be myself and somebody else doing it. Hopefully somebody else will volunteer. But this goes for everybody. If you plan to run for office next year, and there's a few people, I'm telling you right now, if you plan to run for office, you are not going to get our help and our money if you don't help the people today help get to that point. And the one thing we can do, though, and this is in regards to what you're saying there, Elizabeth, the one thing we can do is let every person that we know, let's say, for instance, in the school districts, you live in, I'm trying to remember now, you live in, Elizabeth, you live in Jefferson County, and if you do, well, what school district do you live in? And by the way, if you live in a school district and these people are not on the website, and you know who they are and you trust them, let us know. We may not be able to get any bucks to them right away, but whatever. But we only have so much money. But we do the majority of the people, which are the same ones that do most of the work. We are the ones that are bucking up here, and we need everybody to do that so we can buy these people signs, so we can get the signs and put them up. And we'll probably be doing more than that. We want to take our schools back. You can put up signs. Have you ever put a 4x8 sign up? So you're like, what area? You would be in the Ditmer area, Cedar Hill. Is that right? Oh, that's right. I think you're in Cedar Hill or something like that. If I'm not mistaken. But you know people in Northwest. Well, in fact, isn't your school district Northwest? And by the way, this is something for all of you people. When I go to endorsements here, on the ballot, this is a fact. On the ballot, it will say vote for 2. That is absolutely the wrong way to do it. You know why? Because vote for 2 means you have to vote for 2. No, vote up to 2. When, for instance, in your school district there, Elizabeth, Catawissa, okay, in your school district, are you Northwest School District? I don't think you are you? I don't know. But let's say in Northwest School District, we've only got one person that I know for sure that we can trust. His name is Jason Monkey. Just vote for the one. You don't have to vote for both. Same thing goes for Windsor School District. Vote for one. Vote for Charles Huey. That way we guarantee. Now, in the Fox School District, we have Rick Lamborn and Wendy Moore. You want them both. And by the way, this is to my friend Avery. Avery, you need to be promoting Wendy and Rick. He's only promoting Rick because Avery's mad at me. Avery's mad at me. I'm not going to go into why. That's a private conversation. It's not Wendy's fault. If you got a problem with me, have a problem with me. Don't have a problem with Wendy. So childish. It really is. You're in Jefferson County. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay. But just so you know, that's what we so Northwest is your school district then. And that's just it. So Jason Monkey, just go in and vote for 1. You don't have to vote for 2. And by the way, on election day, we are going to have some smaller signs that people can hold up and say, yes, vote for Monkey. Vote for Charles Huey. Vote for Rick Lamborn. Vote for Wendy Moore. Didn't I say Jacob Monkey? I meant to if I didn't. If I said something else, it was by accident. That's why I tell people that when I do what I do, when anybody's speaking or doing radio or TV, whatever, it is very easy. I don't have anything I read from here except for, like the people we're endorsing. But I don't have a script. In fact, I don't blame, but what did I say? You got me wondering now. But I will call you when I'm done. I got to make a few calls when I'm done. So we're about done anyway. I didn't realize it was 9:13. But everybody, we can do this. We got time to do it. We have to. The one thing we can all do, every single person watch the show, is make sure you call people in those school districts. Everybody, call them or whatever you got to do. Get a hold of them and say, this is who you vote for. And even tell them the other part. If you're in North Head School District, vote. What did I say, Jason by accident? I meant to say Jacob. Vote for Jacob Monkey. Don't even vote for anybody else. Vote for him. I don't know the other ones. Until I do, we're not going to. Oh, I said Atkins. Okay, Monkey. Well, it happens. When you're doing this, I'm looking at 3 screens and a phone and the rest of it. And let me see, make sure nobody else is texting me here. If I got anything else to say here before I hang up, okay, get off here. But all right, everybody, I guess we're about done for the day. But the best thing you could do right now is go to riverrepublicans.net. Help us pay for these signs. Help us pay for this other stuff we're doing. And before I go, let me make sure one thing. Linda, do me one favor. Tell me about what's going to, or is that what it's got to do with? Has it got something to do with Sunday? Just let me know yes or no. And if it does, then I won't ask you for what we're doing Sunday for sure. Because one of the problems we have here too, a lot of businesses don't want to allow us to be places, to go in their places because they don't want, it hurts business. And it's not their fault. It really is. So we got to be careful with that. But that's why someday, if we had a lot of people get involved, we have our own place where we can meet and not even worry about, it doesn't have anything to do with that. Okay. But, all right, let me look here real quick. In fact, I got it right here, come think of it. For those of you that are still listening and you want to help on where is it here? Let me find the text you sent me the other day. Oh, wait a minute. Here it is. Okay, this is what's going to happen Sunday so people understand. Give me a second here. I'll get what she originally wrote because we had all these complainers. Okay, this is what she said. As planned, at our last Real Republicans meeting last weekend, some of us that are able to help the school board candidates address voter absentee envelopes will be meeting on Sunday, March 7th. That's this Sunday for everybody that's listening. And at 1:30 p.m. The location has changed to Wesley Rogers Steak and Buffet, formerly Ponderosa. For those of you from the area, used to be Ponderosa. It's at Richardson and Jeffco. I will be bringing the envelopes, pens, and candidates. Candidates will need to be sure to bring the voter absentee list for your school district from the county clerk's office, and that's something we have to get pretty quickly. I'll have to find out if Rick's got it. If he doesn't, we'll have to go and get it ourselves. But that's what we have to do, and we'll go ahead and get a hold of them. But if you have people in that area, it's very important. You call everybody you know, email them, talk to them personally and say, you know what? Are you sick and tired of the school districts going to hell? Are you sick and tired of them teaching them garbage they shouldn't be teaching our children? If you are, then you need to make sure. We cannot make excuses anymore as Republicans. We can easily win this. We can easily put all these people in if we show up. If we don't show up, we're going to lose. So anyway, all right. And if we're going to be checking out the other district has it. Rick has it. Okay, good. All right. So for all you people out there, please call your friends up. All right, we're going to get out of here. I do have things I have to do, as you know. So thank you so much for listening. And I swear I'll be back tomorrow. Thank you. See you tomorrow.
You can't quit. And why not? Because you're fired. You can't fire him. Why not? He quit.
Over? Did you say over? Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Hell no!
German? Forget it, he's rolling.
It ain't over now. Because when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Who's with me? Let's go! Come on! Thanks. I needed that.